My name is Jason JROCK Houston, and you're listening to Chaotic Riff magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriff.com. Our special guest tonight is guitarist Anthony Leone from the band Silk Nine. Welcome back. I talked to you about a little over a year and a half ago, Anthony. How you doing?
Good, man. How you been?
We've been doing great now. I understand since we last talked that the band's gone through a little bit of a lineup change. You want to start talking a little bit about that and why you went through the changes?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like to ponder on the past. This band has kind of been like this since the conception, but you roll with the punches. I think maybe the issues are that I've always set a direction for this band, and everybody seems to be on board until it's time to actually fulfill the direction and obligations of that direction, and that's when things kind of falter. So. One thing I can say about myself is, when you tell me you're going to do something, I expect you to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't really beat around the bush too much. When I say, hey, this is the direction, this is the vision, are you on board? You don't have to say yes. And I think there's where the problem lies with a lot of, the changeovers is that, everybody kind of sees things, I guess, from the outside in, looks great, but no one really understands the amount of work, right? And I use that term work a lot because nobody really understands the definition or meaning of the word work. Work does not mean, hey, I play my instrument well. That's the easy part of being in a band. We all play our instruments well. There's a lot of work, that goes behind everything that we do as musicians to get our music out to different people like yourself and ears and fans and trying to stretch that fan base. It's very difficult. Obviously, it's made it much easier with social media, but it's like a catch-22. It's made it so easy. There's great bands everywhere, So now you're fighting for your little piece of the pie on even social media, So you've got all these great bands with this great big platform, and you've got fans trying to sift through all this stuff. How do you make your stuff stand out? So, the new lineup. We haven't skipped a beat. I mean, I don't know. The one thing I can say is I feel very, very, very fortunate that. Every time this does happen, I end up with really good guys, and I don't know, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just lucky, when I played football back in high school, I remember I made this one catch, and some of the guys come over, man, that was lucky. My coach said, no, there's no such thing as luck. Luck is the product of hard work. And so, I consider myself lucky, but then I think, I've worked really hard at this. I've beat my head. Beat as hard as I could for the last 5 going on 6 years to stay true to what I wanted to be, and that was, I wanted to be an all-original band. Pittsburgh, and there's nothing wrong with what I'm about to say, but Pittsburgh is the tribute capital of the world. It's the cover capital of the world. Cover bands do well, tribute bands do fantastic. So I was going out doing something that I love to do, maybe in an area that wasn't going to accept it. And, I don't want to say like I shoved it down everybody's throat, but I just because I just wouldn't go away, I just kept writing songs and, just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And, I've been punched in the jaw 3-4 times and, it healed and I move on. And this lineup and the song that we're going to release is kind of our anthem to everything that I just said. The song is called I Won't Carry You.
Wow.
And the song is just about, if you don't like what's going on and you're not getting fulfillment to what you're doing here in this band, then move on. But don't be like that jealous girlfriend. Don't be that girl that, hey, I don't want you, but I don't want anybody else to have you. That's not right. If you don't like what's happening here, then you spread your wings and you do what fulfills you, but let me go do what fulfills me. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. I love music. I love writing songs. But I also love to be fulfilled. And what gives me fulfillment is when I get up on the stage and I look down and people are singing the lyrics to the songs that, we wrote as a band or whoever's in the band. That's my fulfillment. And that's what means the most to me. Standing on stage and playing an AC/DC song and everybody singing the words, that does nothing for me. It does absolutely nothing for me as a musician. And I just, I don't want to do that.
Well,
I stuck to my guns, and I think that's where a lot of, heartaches came into this. A lot of things I've seen on, social media posted about me personally. But what are you going to do? I've got big shoulders. I don't let it bother me. I ignore it. And I go and
Well, good for you. Good for
I
you.
just write songs.
Good for you for having that work ethic. Because I'm kind of like you in that sense that I believe nothing in life should really come for free. I mean, anything worthwhile that you get, I believe you got to work for. And hopefully at the end of the day, your hard work's going to pay off, and you're going to get somewhere, in your life. And let me ask you, when you were first putting the band together, did you have anybody like whispering in your ears, like, "Oh, come on, Anthony, you guys have a lot easier times getting gigs if you would just maybe start out doing the cover thing and doing cover tunes." Did you really have to fight with people working with you behind the scenes to kind of do your own original thing?
Yes, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Well,
From band members to venue owners to everyone. It was the same thing. Hey, do 30 covers and then just filter in your originals.
Yeah.
You want to draw people in with the covers, and then you hit them with an original. Well, that wasn't my thought. My thought is, if I have to draw somebody in with the cover, then my originals aren't good enough. What I want to do is draw people in by the songs that I write. I want them to come there and can't wait for one of our songs. That's just a different mentality of a cover band artist trying to write an original.
Yeah.
An original artist being an original artist, and and wanting to spread the wings, build the fan base, and build that type of atmosphere and that type of culture, and that's what it is. And maybe it's a culture or an environment that maybe it's just only in my mind. I don't know.
No,
it is what it is, and I'm not going to change the direction of this band. One of the co-founders, Jamie Rohr, who sang on the first EP, LP, whatever, on Exit the Pain, is back with the band now.
Good.
And I think it's a big deal. It's a big deal to me. I missed him, with when he had. I'm not going to get into why he had to go.
No.
We never left on bad terms, and that was a big deal to me. We stayed friends. We'll always be friends. He's like my brother. He'll always be my brother, and that's just what it's always going to be. And I feel very fortunate that things worked out, the way they did. And I always say that, things happen for a reason. Did I want the Retribution lineup to break up? No. I remember in one of the heated arguments at the rehearsal, I just kind of broke down and said, "Listen," I said, "you guys got to understand one thing. This is not about anything personal, but I asked you guys to be in this band because I wanted you, not that I needed you."
Yeah.
And I don't want. I said, I'm not trying to sound or be arrogant. I'm just telling you that if you don't like what we're doing, then go, and you're not going to hurt my feelings because I'm still going to trudge forward with this band in the direction.
Yeah.
I want you guys to be happy, but if you're not happy, I can't make you happy. There's nothing I can do that's going to make you happy because this is direction. It's always been the direction, and that can't change.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you take a band like Motley Crue, who, all four guys together, they make up, they got something magical going. There's a special chemistry there. But, when you break it down and you look at the fact that, Nikki Sixx, the bass player, he's a main songwriter. He's the guy who writes the bulk of the tunes. And even that being the case, if you were to take any one of those guys out of a band, it would drastically, alter the sound of a band.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's one thing that I'm proud of is that even though members kind of changed and maybe the sound changed a little bit, we never strayed from what I call people still know a Silk Nine song. Yeah. And I take some pride in that, and maybe that's because I do a lot of the writing. And whether it's this current lineup or the previous lineup or the previous line before that, whatever songs we were writing, everybody added their parts in and helped mold that song. But at the end of the day, I do come up with the ideas, and I think that's why the sound hasn't faltered much. And again, I can't say enough about the new song, and probably when we get off, I'd like to send you the song to listen to.
Sure.
We can do even a follow-up interview after the release, and let you chew on it a little bit. But to me, this song is everything that this band was supposed to sound like. And just all the way through. Like I said, I think I told you, Jamie's back on lead vocals. A very good friend of mine, Jazz Byers, on bass, and another really good friend. That it was funny because we used to jam together in cover bands way back in the day at a place called Ricky's out here. His name's Matt Ferrante. He's going to be playing drums for us. So everything's, we cut our first single just to see how things would go in the studio. We meshed really well. It came out really tight, really good. And I'm really excited to get it out there. And we just got the masters back just a day ago. So we're still chewing on that because we get one more shot, in case we want to change something or push the levels a little bit.
Yeah.
But as soon as we're done with that, I'll shoot it off to you.
Oh, sure.
And then, you just got to keep it under wraps till the release.
Yeah.
And then we can maybe do a follow-up, and you can let me know what you think of.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And
feedback, whether it's good or bad, and I take it on the chin regardless.
Well, see, I'm kind of like you, Anthony, in that I'm not one of these guys that follows the trends. For example, when like back in the '90s when grunge became the big thing, and you had people who I'm going to throw out all my Motley Crue albums. Motley Crue sucks all of a sudden. I'm gonna start wearing flannels and cut my hair short. To me, it's all about the song, like you're saying. And if you got a band and the music, you like the music. It shouldn't be about following trends. It should be about what you really dig in your heart. And that's why no matter if you're talking about guys like Tom Petty or the Eagles or even a band like Kiss, people may see Kiss as like a joke band because they wear the makeup and that. But, they're going on their farewell tour, for example, and they've been doing it for over 40 years. And a band can't last that long if they don't have songs that have great hooks and, songs that people love to sing and stuff.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think that, what I've always tried to do and try to explain to the guys is that, we want to write something that can connect with people.
Yeah.
And I never like to kind of explain what songs are about because I like to put, use similes and metaphors and things because, you never know what people are going to take out of it. You may interpret it one way and a person might interpret it the other way. It doesn't matter. As long as everybody gets a message and it's positive or a feeling that's positive, then, we've done our job. And I think that's what makes our music a little bit different than others. We don't write about, we just write about things that happen or things in life or things that can help you through tough times. Just things that have meaning to it. Music is a meaningful thing to me. And we try to let that filter through the music down to people that are listening.
Music really is I like to say universal language. It's one of the few things that can really has the power to bring people together. And I was kind of going to ask you a little bit about being a songwriter. How cool is that for you? When you wrote the song about, for example, but a fan comes up to you and they tell you that they got maybe it reminds them of something they experienced in their own personal life, or they got something different out of the song than what it's actually about. That's got to be a pretty cool feeling. Wow, I didn't write this song about that, but if that's what you got out of it, great.
Yeah, and that's happened. We wrote a song called "Embrace," and a guy had come up to me and said, "Man," he goes, "Hey, I wanted to just let you know that I love that song, Embrace." He said, at the time I wasn't doing very well, and just struggling with my instrument and just struggling with everything, and just was very depressed. And I heard the song, and it kind of gave me a little uplift. And he's like, "I just wanted to say thank you."
Wow.
And, that meant the world to me. I thought, wow, that's not only to find that on our level, but for somebody to come up and say that, that's pretty touching.
Yeah, and it's got to be great having your singer back for the simple fact that even though the band's been through all these many lineup changes over the years, during his time away, probably a lot of the pressure was on you, being that you're the sole original guy still there, and now to have your buddy back, it's got kind of be great to have like a familiar face there.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. You're right. I did feel, a bit alone. On that venture. Yeah. And that's not a good feeling. When you feel like you're one wheel going. In this case, it might have been like I was the wheel going in the wrong direction. Because I had the direction that I wanted to go. Yeah. With three other wheels going a different way. But and again, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's just that I had to keep this going in the direction that I thought was best, and what I had set out to do is do just what we're doing. Yeah. And I don't want to change that. And I'm not being stubborn and ego. No. Everybody always says uses that word. It's not an ego when you stand strong to something that you believe in. That's not egotistical.
Oh no, I mean I could even see it from that perspective. Being somebody who's not even in the band or anything, in the sense that like we're saying, you're the one kind of constant that's been there since day one, and so you've got every right to kind of kind of run the ship and tell people, well, this is the way, this is the direction we're going, as opposed to allowing these guys to just come in and just feel that they can just kind of take over a band and turn it into what they want when it's kind of your baby.
Yeah, and it's funny you use that term, baby, because that's something that Jamie and I, from day one, has always said. Whatever suits the baby.
Yeah.
And we always said that. Nobody, like, when I would say that to some people, they'd be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So listen, it's very simple.
Yeah.
If it doesn't nurture the baby, if it doesn't grow the baby, if it doesn't take the baby in a positive way, then we're not doing it. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's a simple concept, but a tough one to understand, I guess.
Yeah, and
But in this lineup, I don't feel the same way. I don't feel like I'm the only guy with this direction, because the guys that are in the band now all kind of have seen the progression of the band. I mean, they've all been around me. I filled in guitar playing with a couple jazz bands. I've jammed with Matt and Jamie, of course, and Silk Nine. So it's different.
Yeah.
They all know and understand that, look, this is what Silk Nine sounds like. This is the direction. We know you're kind of set in your ways, and this is so, we're going to buy into it. We're going to buy into it and see what happens. And that's the feeling that I get right now, is that, okay, everybody bought into it. Now we're going to see what happens. So I don't know if you saw, if you followed us on Facebook or not, but we did release a new band photo.
Okay. And, I seen that. I went on your Facebook page the other day after you contacted me about doing this, and
great.
I just wanted to see what was currently up with you guys. Now, you were telling me a little bit before we started doing the interview, that you mentioned the new single you guys have coming out. Tell people a little bit about that, because it almost sounds like you're telling me you're almost like your own R guy. You're the guy that's calling up all the local radio stations and internet people to see if they have any interest in playing it. That takes a lot of dedication right there and hard work.
Yeah, it does. It's very time consuming. There's a lot of follow-ups. There's I work 2 jobs during the day, and
wow.
I'm band at night. And I have to find time to rehearse. I have to find time to just play my instrument, just for fun. I have to find time to sit down and work on new ideas. So, but you know what? If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. It's not that I have to make time. I can't wait to get down here to do those things. And being in the band so long, I mean, it's not like I'm digging up, people from nowhere. I mean, I reached out to you. I reached out to several people that have supported the band in the past. I was just on the Hard Rock Sports Show with Tommy Florio, the guys, and they've been, big supporters of this band from day one. So, that all helps out, that we have kind of a footprint, So
yeah, cool.
This time has been a little bit easier to get in touch with people and do things like you're doing here, and to get the word out that, hey, there is a new lineup and there is a new single coming out. We're working on the video right now, so we're going to try to drop that. As soon as they play it on the X, we're going to try to drop that video on social media that evening. All these little, I've got all these little capillaries, reaching out there, and hopefully it's all going to come together.
Yeah.
And, I don't see why it wouldn't. And I think. Again, I think when you hear the new song, you'll understand everything. Yeah,
the great thing about that, again, if you put in the hard work, hopefully you'll get your just desserts, if you know what I mean. And the thing too, it's cool. The music industry is not what it was when you and I were growing up, in the sense that back in the day, you'd either send a demo like to a record company, or they'd come check you out at a club, and people really paid their dues in the clubs and that. But a lot of people, they don't even have a record deal these days, or a lot of bands, they put out their own stuff. And so, true to form, if you're in that kind of situation, and your album starts to sell, and your songs are on the radio and stuff, and people are really starting to check out the band, if you don't have a big label behind you and you're really doing it all independently yourself, when a little bit of success starts to come your way, that money is going to go directly to the band, as opposed to a big record company getting the huge piece of the pie.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that back in the day, to record an album, it was a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
To go in there and have an engineer and have a tape reel and miking drums, and there's so much technology now, and I'm not saying it's still not expensive.
Oh yeah.
But it's in recording dollars and cents. Yeah. It's achievable now.
I mean, it's amazing what you can even do on a computer. Just downloading stuff into a computer.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like this new song was one of the first songs ever, believe it or not, that all the instruments were cut in one place.
Wow.
In Innovation Studios with Mike Ofka in Steubenville, Ohio. Everything was cut right there.
Wow.
The only thing that I did at home, I did a couple overdubs and some little things like that, and then I'll just email him the tracks and he'll float those in. But the guitar was an amplifier, mic'd out, ready to go.
Wow.
The drums were mic'd out, ready to go. Bass, everything was right there. And then we did vocals. So everything, we were all together in the studio. And that's never happened with this band before.
Almost like they did it back in the day. Like you go in there and record as a live band, huh?
Yes and no. Yes. What we do is we put a scratch track down first,
and
then once we've got a good, that's our outline. Now we start fine tuning it. Where hey, I hear this here on the bass.
Yeah.
And we start, I like that drum fill with it. Then it starts to become a canvas. It's funny because if you look at a recording, when you open up say Pro Tools or Cubase or whatever you're using, it's just white. Right?
Wow.
When you hit that first record button, you see that first stripe, and you can change all the colors. Because when I do mine, I've got like guitars are pink and vocals are green and overdubs are yellow, and then you should see all the colors. And I always tell my kids, like, I can't draw a stick figure. I cannot draw.
Wow.
So my creativity is music.
Yeah.
And when I see all those colors, that's kind of my canvas and my painting.
Oh, wow.
As those tracks are going down.
How cool is that? Now, I was curious, like when you were growing up. Who were your guitar heroes? Who were guys that inspired you to do what you're doing today?
My biggest influence will always be George Lynch. The first time I heard him play, and I loved the way that, he had the shred, but the melody, like I really gravitated towards that. I gravitated towards, Vito Bratta from White Line because of the tapping and how smooth his playing was. Warren DeMartini. I loved his kind of bluesy rock thing that he did. Jakey Lee, which we're having, March 18th is actually our next show, and we're actually opening for Red Dragon Cartel.
Oh, how cool is that? Wow.
Yeah, when I saw the video for Shot in the Dark back in the day and saw Jakey Lee, I just went, oh my God, this guy, wow.
Yeah.
And, I've tried to take little things from all those guys and incorporate them into kind of the things that I do sometimes, to kind of mold my style. And
speaking of Jake, I got to ask you, what do you think of his new band, Red Dragon Cartel? Have you had time to check that out?
Yeah, I've heard a couple little the things online, and I like what I hear. And I really love Jake live.
Yeah.
The last time we played with him, it was just an amazing show.
Cool.
So I'm really looking forward to.
So you guys have actually played with them before. That's cool because I will say this. I think the new Red Dragon Cartel album. It's more of a band. Sounds more focused to me because it's got like the lineup they've been touring with for the last several years. Where the first album was just a mishmash, and Jake had kind of disappeared for like 20 years, and that's kind of the first thing he put out there. But I think they've really had a few years now to redefine their sound and really get a strong band lineup going.
A little story. One of my favorite bass players ever.
Anthony
was Anthony Esposito from Lynch Mob at the time. He's now in the Red Dragon Cartel, and I had a chance to talk with him on the phone, a while back. And what a great guy! I'm really looking forward to seeing him, meeting him face to face, and playing with him in the Red Dragon Cartel. I think it's going to be a really great show. Yeah,
and speaking about Jake again, I don't know if you ever had a chance to check out the other band he had after Ozzy. Badlands, that was a cool kind of bluesy type band, especially the debut album. That's a real classic.
Yes, great stuff.
Yeah, and
Jake will always be great, man. Jake's just that guy.
Yeah,
he can just stand there and play a power chord, and he's just, he's got that aura about him. He just, greatness just spews from his pores.
Yeah, I'm glad he's back. It's a shame that he kind of disappeared for 20 years, but he's back. And talking a little bit about George Lynch. Now you mentioned. Who isn't a George Lynch fan, but a lot of people think of him from obviously Dockett and Lynch Mob. But the cool thing about George is he's at a place in life now where he's got about 10 10 or 15 different bands going, and he's got all these cool releases coming out. Like, have you had a chance to hear these other things he's done, like KXM, and he put out something with Corey Glover from Living Colour?
I didn't hear that stuff, but I did hear the KXM that type thing he did with Pinnock. That was really good. I listen as much as I can.
Yeah, because the cool thing. My point being is, George. I mean, he's quite the shredder, but he's also type of musician that he's not afraid to try different things, and he's got, I guess, a pretty good fan base that they allow him to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing I do love is I always like when Dawkins released that new song.
Yeah.
They got the original lineup like that. That was like the George that I remember. Like that style of playing, and I love. I don't know why that style of playing just fits that band or whatever. I don't know why he does the things he does, but I love that, and I also love that what he did with Michael Sweet from Stryper, the Sweet Lynch.
Oh that's cool.
I thought the first album was really, really great. His playing was so good on that album. It was catchy. It was melodic. He shredded when he has to. It was just really good. I really dug it.
And again, the cool thing about that project, especially the first album, like you said, they just had great songs on there. I mean, these are two guys that they're well established, both in their own rights. But you bring these two guys together, and it's just amazing what they did. Especially on that first album.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, you could put Michael Sweet and George Lynch together, and if they didn't have the chemistry, and they just put a kind of a crappy album together, they didn't really have any good songs. It's not going to really be anything magical. So it's kind of like you're talking about. You gotta be a good songwriter. You gotta have the songs. You could put together a band that's got 5 great looking guys, but if you don't have any really decent songwriting skills, you're not going to go too far.
Yeah, when I started the band, one of the things that I noticed, was out watching bands and things, original bands, is that I never left whistling, a melody. I never left humming a song. Nothing really, I thought that's what, that original music lacked a little bit, in the areas that, and this is a while back. Now I've seen several, local original bands that are really, really good. But I think that's what got me headed down the path that, where I'm at now, is that I always tried to, go after that, or the famous saying is, don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah.
I always try to make that, that's what I'm looking for. Like, how fast can I get to the chorus? And when I do, it's got to be big.
And as a songwriter, I was curious, especially, with Silk 9, for example, when you guys go in to record, being that a lot of times you're the principal songwriter, do you have trouble, like, allowing the singer to kind of give him his right to go in there and do his thing? Or do you hear a song, for example, in your head a certain way, and you try to stay as true to the way you wrote the song, if you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. What I typically do is lay a guitar track down here at home over a click track, and then I put a melody down, or if I do have lyrics, I'll sing them, and then I'll get together with the singer, and everyone sings different. My phrasing is going to be different than Jamie's phrasing, and the one we're working on right now is a prime example where I came in with a melody, and he said, "Tony, just that's not how. I don't feel comfortable with that."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." I said, "Then my question is, what can we do about that?" Obviously, if a singer is not comfortable with what he's singing, it's going to come across fake. He has to be. I always tell every singer, you got to be in the song. You just can't just be performing it. You have to be in it. And I try to explain that to everybody that I play with. Like, you have to be in it, or it becomes fake. Be in the song. So we did. That's what when we were working on it. I was at his house. He's got a little home recording studio as well, and we sat and we worked on it all day, and we came up with something that we really liked, and it was completely different. The verses were completely different than what I had sung. Yeah. But when I listen to it, it's better. So how can I complain?
No.
Could we have gotten to that place without the original melody?
Yeah.
Probably not. But like anything, you need a starting point, and where it ends up, I can maybe someday if it ever becomes important, I have like all the old stuff from Eggs to Pain, Retribution, and even the new stuff of where the song started.
Wow.
And you would get a good chuckle hearing the tracks that where we started, and then the final master. But that's not even the same song.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, it is. But if we didn't have this, we would never got here. We needed to build that to what it is now.
The reason I asked is I know a lot of guys that write songs. They're real close to what they write, and they a lot of people, they often have trouble allowing other people to come in and kind of add to their creation, if you will. Like, that's not the way I wrote the song. I hear it a different way. This is my song. You got to do it my way. So I think it is good that you can be open and allow other guys to kind of come in and do their parts and kind of bring what they influence, or what their little influence into the band, if you will.
Yeah, and sometimes it's to the detriment of myself sometimes. But I understand that going into a band atmosphere that I'm going to have to choose my battles.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it's either been around me or in a band with me. Like there's times where that I do say like that's not it, or that's we're getting way off track. Let's rein it back in because we're going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Well, I would suggest that. I mean, there's and I don't want to get specific, but there's a song on Retribution that I don't particularly care for because of the way it turned out. However, I wasn't really willing to pick that battle.
I hear you.
The person was feeling it, and I just let them run with it. And the thing is, it sounded great.
Yeah.
It sounded great. So, am I going to argue about, hey, it sounds great, but it's not exactly what I was picturing, or just let this thing grow?
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go, and let everyone decide. And the funny thing is that that song became a single. So hey, and I'm not always right either.
Yeah.
And I'm okay to sit back and say I wasn't. I don't know if I wasn't right as much because I would still like to hear the song how I kind of thought it should sound like. And I think when Jamie sings it, it's going to have more of the feel that I was after. And Jamie's voice is just the sound of what Silk Nine was always supposed to be. That more gritty, grungy kind of modern, tone. I can't explain it, but he just has this tone to his voice that I think fits this band and is very unique.
Well, kind of like you were saying, for example.
And by the way, I'm not bagging on anybody. I'm just saying.
No.
That's just my.
I mean, it's kind of like you were saying about what a huge Dokken fan you are. For example, when they put out that one new song, last year from their recent a live appearance in Japan, they put out a great live CD in that, and it's kind of like Dokken has also gone through many lineup changes, but and as much as they may love or hate each other, something about that original lineup when they get together, it's just that magic chemistry. It's almost like Don Dokken can continue on with the with the current members in his band and that, and it'll probably be a great sounding album, but it won't be like when that original band gets together.
Yeah, we got a chance to. I'm very blessed to say that I've played with both sides of it. We've opened up for Lynch Mob.
Wow.
We've opened up for Don Dokken.
Yeah.
And it just sucks, I guess you could say, that they can't get their shit together. It is what it is. I enjoyed both sides of it.
Yeah.
And I'll always be a George Lynch fan. I love his guitar playing. I love his writing. So that's kind of more my style.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to the new Dokken much because that's my roots is more George's side of things.
I hear you. That's just from a fan perspective, and that's the one thing I say that I dig about guys like you, Anthony, is a lot of bands that even have been around, let's say even as long as Silk Nine, music industry being what it is today, a lot of guys are like, you know what, we're not gonna bother put out any new CDs. We might release a song or two every now and then, but we're just gonna live off our catalog of music. That's why I have huge respect for a guy like you that continues to put new music out for his fans. Because there are people that like, why even bother? Recording a CD? Nobody's gonna buy it.
Well, I mean, listen, you can't go in with that mentality. You've already lost the battle.
Yeah.
When I go in to record a song or if we're gearing up to do an EP or whatever we plan to do. My thought is I can't wait for everybody to buy this thing.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's 200 or 2,000, it doesn't matter to me. You know, I always tell the guys we're creating a legacy, you know, and that's what we're doing. We're building a legacy here. And, you know, I want to look back and, you know, when my kids are my age and, you know, say, hey, look, this is what I did, you know, whether they're musicians or not, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, this is what Dad used to do, or, you know, this is, and I think it's, you know, and I want to look back and say it's damn good. And, you know, right now I look back and I think I can say that about, you know, everything that we've released.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of.
It's got a certain quality. There's a certain pride to put out a quality product. You know. Now, are you guys kind of is that your kind of what you're working towards? Is like another EP, another 5 or 6 song EP, or maybe a full length, or where are we headed right now? Kind of like releasing maybe a song at a time.
Yeah, I think what I really wanted to do, being that, you know, we had a new lineup, is do what I call the meet and greet.
Yeah.
The meet and greet was this first single that we cut.
Great.
We actually did. We cut 2 songs, but one's, you know, the new one, I Won't Carry You, is done. We've got to go back and finish up the vocals on song number 2. So will we do an EP? Will we do an LP? Will we just do singles?
Yeah.
I really can't answer that right now. But as things kind of, you know, open and shake down, and, you know, obviously the you know, the biggest obstacle is always money. Yeah. And, you know, when you're recording to deplete the fund, you know, we had to re-up some merch and re-up on some product, and so and we had to record 2 songs. So that, you know, we need to get out, you know, go to work, and rebuild that band fund back up, and then once we get to a healthy point, then we'll decide what we want to do.
And how do you feel as a musician, Anthony? You got these things like pledge music. I guess it's a good thing for bands to be able to maybe come up with the funds faster, have people kind of donate to your cause, and, you know, like even when you're going to go maybe and do a recording, have people kind of you know, donate to the cause, and maybe you send them like a T-shirt or something. How do you feel about bands doing stuff like that?
I don't like it.
Oh yeah.
My thought, and again, not bagging on anybody. Whatever you have to do to get it done, you do. In my mind, it's always work and reward. So I would rather go play a show, make some money while we're there, sell the merch. That's how we do it. You know, 2-3 shows, we're back in the studio.
I hear you.
And that's how we've always done it. You know, as soon as I see that band fund up enough, we can go cut a song, or pay for a day in the studio, and maybe, you know, it all depends on, you know, the outline.
I hear you.
We've got 3 songs ready to go, and we've got enough to spend a day in the studio, then we might just spend all day cutting drum tracks.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's everything else is easy. Once the drums are done, everything else is easy. You can come home and work on them. So, you know, we can, and everything else we can do here at my house as far as like demoing and pre-production. So I'm leaning towards that right now. That, you know, we have a few shows lined up. We're going to make it, you know, a decent amount of money, and then we're going to, you know, we'll book a day. We'll cut the last 3 songs for a new EP, possibly, and then, you know, we'll have to, you know, get out there and do a few more shows, and then we can go back in
and now let me ask you, in regards to the new single you're getting ready to release, any chance you'll be playing that live before you premiere it?
Well, no, and that's how we planned it. So we're going to do the big release on 105.90X on the 13th, 9 o'clock, with Stacy Walter, and she's the DJ for the evening. She'll be playing on the local listen. And then we're going to be playing it live March 18th at the Craft House when we open up for Jakey Lee.
Oh, wow, that's perfect. Oh, wow.
Well, that's going to be our clincher for the night.
Yeah, and let me ask you, like, when you premiere a song like that on the radio, do you like get the numbers right away as far as, like, you know, how many people are tuning in, and what's usually the process for that?
No, you know, I never know. You know, I've never gotten any of that. You know, I just hope that, you know, I've reached out to, you know, radio stations in the past, you know, to book advertisement, and in that, what do we call it? The invoice, I guess you could say. They'll give you an estimate based on what you want to pay, how many listeners will hear it.
Yeah, yeah. You must get more. Yeah.
FM radio.
Yeah.
Definitely does the trick. I can tell you that reaches the most amount of ears if those numbers are correct. And there's no way for me to tell if they are or not. But there's no reason for me to believe that they're fabricated.
Oh yeah.
I take that to heart and say, wow, that's how many ears we're getting in.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be. And it's tough as it's tough as a local guy too to try to get. It's impossible to get constant rotation. So that's something that we're really trying to work at, and it's just been an uphill battle. Yeah,
and on the flip side, talking a little bit about the power of the internet, I mean, you probably get a little more immediate feedback there as far as like people going to your Facebook page and reading the comments, and maybe people going to YouTube and checking your stuff out and reading those comments. But, to think about for a minute that you're a little band from Pittsburgh, and you maybe hear from somebody halfway around the world, maybe from, let's say, even Mexico or Japan, or somewhere in Europe, places the band hasn't even stepped foot in, and to think for a minute, wow, on the other side of the world, somebody's checking out Silk 9, that's got to be a pretty cool feeling.
It is, and to see, people are downloading the songs, around the world, it's a crazy feeling, Yeah. I wish those numbers could be like 20 times, but, it's still pretty cool to see that it's reaching ears,
Yeah. Now, is your stuff sold besides directly on your site? Can people go to any of the digital sites, like let's say, Amazon or I don't know, CD Baby or any of those places, and buy your stuff?
Any of the digital download sites, Amazon, CD Baby, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. There's many out there now. I can't even remember them. Jazz and I, the bass player in the band, now we were just writing them all down the other day. There's got to be like 30 different sites, that all this stuff filters down to that you can buy it off of.
And let me ask you, how quick do you see that income? For example, if somebody goes to Amazon and buys one of your tunes, I mean, how long does it take for that money to come in? Does it come in like relatively quickly, or does it sometimes take months to get that?
Well, the way that I have it set up is that every time that you hit $25, it kicks right into the band fund.
Wow.
Baby. Now, if you think about how many times you have to download a song to get $25, you'd pass out.
Yeah.
You buy that as a consumer, you're buying that for $1 or $1.29.
Yeah.
As the artist, sometimes we see less than a nickel.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I'm an old school guy.
Something's got to change. Something's got to change with that. I mean, the artists are being raped. To go out to get less than 80% of what that value is, there's something wrong.
So let me ask you, for example, let's say one of your songs that you wrote, a lot of people are buying it now. Do you split that money for the rest of the band, or does just the people that wrote the song, get a part of that, or how does that work?
Okay, so you've opened up the can of worms, haven't you?
Yeah.
Listen, this is how there's not enough money that's being made to split it between band members.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's why I asked.
So what I've always explained to everybody is that this band has always stood on its own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Not one band member ever who's recorded with this band has ever pulled $1 out of their pocket to go into that studio to release a CD, to do any of the work that's needed to release, a song, a CD, a single, whatever. All of that money goes into the fund, and when it's needed, it pays its own bills. And that's how I've always wanted it. That's a direction I started out from day one, and that's, I think, where a lot of the arguments and dissension starts. And unfortunately, it would be great if we could all quit our jobs and live off of music, but that's just not going to happen.
I mean, you really are working musicians in the sense, like you're telling me you got 2 or 3 jobs and you do this, on the side, and your other jobs kind of help pay for this, and reason I was asking all these questions about, how you make the money and how fast it comes in is because a lot of people, I think, fail to realize a lot of bands these days, the bulk of your money is made probably through the live shows and the merchandise and other stuff, like revenue maybe from the streaming service and that. You eventually get it, and it is what it is.
I am a T-shirt salesman.
Hands on.
That's hands down. That's how we record music.
Yeah.
T-shirt sales. But you know what? I always, when we get into these situations where people don't understand, why, it's the same, I don't know what you do for a hobby. So it's, for instance, my father's a big hunter. right?
Yeah.
And I look at, he has several guns, very expensive guns and gear, and he has, camouflage, and he has boots, and he's got all these things, right, to go so that it's an enjoyable experience, right? He doesn't complain about spending that money because it's something that he loves to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about the band, is that, it's run like a business, but it's a business that, I was going to spend this money anyway, right, because I love to do it. But if I can go out, make the money, and not have to pull it out of my pocket, well, then that's just even more beneficial.
Yeah.
And if everybody can buy into this, where, hey, we're going to go do 3 shows, you're not going to get paid for those shows, but we're going to go and cut a 5-song EP, to which you don't have to pull $1 out of your pocket. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, and at the same time,
my mindset was always like, if that was me being offered that, I'd be jumping all over that. Well, heck yeah, I'm going to go out and play all night because I love to play.
Yeah, and
tell me that we're going to go to a recording studio and play, and I'm not going to have to pay for that.
Yeah, and at the same time, getting to do open up for Jakey Lee and Red Dragon Cartel. I mean, that gets your band out there a little more, and a little more people are going to know of a band's name now. So that's a cool thing too.
Yeah, and that's why we do those shows.
Yeah.
It gives us a spotlight in front of a nice crowd of people that can hear us, and we've picked up a lot of fans that way. We've sold a lot of merch that way. We've been able to record, going on, will be our 3rd, release that way. So, there is a sense that that's what works. But I also understand that it's time for us to spread our wings and do some other things, and that's what we're trying to do this year. So we may have to take a step back to make that stride forward, but, there's always growing pains and progression. Yeah.
And as far as the writing, do you have a lot of stuff you've already kind of written that's just waiting to be recorded, or are you constantly writing songs?
I don't know if I'm constantly writing songs as much as I'm constantly writing ideas.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Because I have my phone on me all the time, and I'll be walking, I'll be in an appointment walking up a sidewalk or something, and I'll start humming something. I'll turn around and go back to the car, pull my phone out, hit the voice record, and start singing into my phone so that later I don't forget it. Things like that. Or if I'm sitting in my living room, I grab the acoustic and I'll just throw down an idea, and then I'll bring it downstairs when I have time, and I'll listen to the things. And I would say 90% of the stuff that I think sounds really good is crap. I don't use. But there's out of all that crap, I might find that one, and that one was our new single.
Wow.
That really stuck with me, the lick, and I built on it. And I came up with the melody, and I presented it to Jamie, and Jamie took it to the next level, and before you know it, I gave it to the other guys, Matt and Jazz, and Jazz came up with this ridiculous bass line that made it sound enormous, and we've got a brand new song. It happened just that easy.
Well, let me ask you. I know you're not going to give us the song, but you were mentioning on your previous release there's a song that became a single that you didn't really dig, but. How cool is that as a songwriter, as a musician, that maybe the song didn't personally do nothing for you, and you kind of don't get what everybody sees in the song, but it became a lot bigger than what you thought it was.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how to. I don't have a problem with any of that. I mean, as long as everybody's digging what we're playing, I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's not like I put my head down and don't perform the song because I don't like it. That's not. I don't want to give you that.
No. I mean, I would personally think it's a cool thing. But I don't get it, but
I want people to listen to things and come up with their own kind of interpretations and their own feelings. It doesn't mean that I have to like it. What's really cool is if it's something I don't like that everybody else digs. That's great. Because sometimes that. I always tell the guys, like, hey, even if we bring a bad idea to the table, let's finish it. Let's finish it. Let's give it its due duty. And at the end of the day, if we beat it enough and it doesn't work out, then we just put it away.
Yeah, I mean, my point is, maybe you didn't get the same thing the fans got out of the song, but that's got to be a pretty cool thing. And it's well, hey, man, I didn't get the same thing all these people did, but maybe I'm missing something. But hey, that's pretty cool that all these people are loving it.
Yeah, I mean, that's our job as musicians, right? I mean, that's what they're buying it, not me.
Yeah.
But I get it for free. I wrote it.
Yeah, everyone's buying the.
Everybody's digging it.
Yeah.
Everybody's grabbing a download of it or buying a download.
That's what it's about.
Or
Yeah.
that song made them buy a T-shirt, and that gives me the next stepping stone to go record another song. Then job well done.
And as far as the merchandise, like the fact that you're so hands-on, I was curious. Like, are you involved also in designing the T-shirts, and do you do a lot of artwork and stuff, or do you have other people that do artwork for you?
Well, no, we do it all ourselves. And actually, the current logo, actually Jamie designed. I designed the first logo.
Okay.
Well, actually, I didn't design the first logo. A guy by the name of Lou Hetzer, actually, we did a gig at his place, our first gig, and I said, man, I need a logo. And he sent me this, and I said, man, that's cool. So that's what I used.
Yeah.
And then it went on where, Jamie joined the band, and things were starting to progress, and he came in with this, we call it the slant logo. And that's what's on Exit the Pain.
Okay.
And then he came in one day, and we call it the splatter logo, which is the one we use now. And I thought, man, that is really good. And that's the one we've been using. And
cool.
Through the Retribution phase of the band, we tried to change it. We tried to come up with something new.
Yeah.
We had, graphic artists designing new logos for us. And it just didn't like everything we looked at, it wasn't as good as what we already had. So we just used the existing logo, put it on the new album, and it looks great. And I think it's hard to, that's going to be the logo for quite a while.
And on the flip side, that maybe is working for you because, you could have a real professional graphic artist come in and come up with something great, but it just doesn't fit what you guys are about, or it might turn off fans. Hey, why are you guys trying to change what you guys are about?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you say that because we did without even giving the artist any music, we just showed them some pictures, kind of explained what we were, and let them have at it.
Yeah.
And it just was not good. It was just nothing that any of us liked at the time.
Yeah, and you know what your band is about. You know what works for you guys, and you gotta stay true to who you are. So you know what you guys are, and I think anytime any band tries to maybe change their image or what they're about, people can, especially fans, if they're real big fans of what the band's doing, they can tell you guys are just trying to, selling out, you're just trying to follow the trends or whatever. So it's real important to stay true to, who you guys really are.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that's, I'm dug in.
Yeah.
I'm dug into what I think we should sound like. I think the guys realize what we need to sound like.
Yeah.
And, we're not going to try to invent the wheel. We want to, I do notice this, the new song, it's another progression, Exit the Pain to Retribution was a progression. And I think from Retribution to the new song, there's another progression. And I think that's a great thing that, we keep just getting better.
Oh yeah. Nothing wrong with progression. I mean, you don't want to stay totally at the same spot. I mean, unless you're AC/DC where, every song can kind of sound the same and everybody's digging it. Not too many bands can get away with that. I mean, you can have a great rockin' anthem, a song that's like an anthem, and then you could put out a great power ballad. Two different sides of what you guys do, but somehow it's still all Silk Nine, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. You want to stay true to the core tone, but grow and spread our wings a little bit.
Yeah,
and I really think that these next two songs are going to show that for sure.
And just a few more things before we wrap this up. Now, I'm an old school guy in the sense that a lot of people, they miss that CDs were really once upon a time they were really an art form. I mean, I tell a lot of people about experience of back in the day. I'd go to when they had Tower Records, a record store. What's a record store? A lot of kids will tell you these days. They don't even know. A lot of them don't even know what a CD is, let alone. And so I used to love picking up the new releases, checking out the artwork, reading who wrote the songs and stuff. And that's what a lot of fans kind of don't understand. Where instead of buying the whole album, I'm just going to buy the single. I'm just going to buy a couple of the tunes. I mean, I like getting 9 or 10 new tunes. And a certain percent of fans out there, they don't realize what an art this is, or this is how you guys make your living. If everybody's just going to get the music for free, that's kind of robbing you guys of what you do.
Yeah, but we can sit here and keep crying over that whole, free stuff, or we can just figure other ways. And that's what we have to do. We live in a different time now. I mean, I remember, I think it was Creatures of the Night by Kiss.
There you go.
The day that was coming out, we were National Record Mark that, my parents dropped us off at 10 o'clock, and we went down, we got it, and we couldn't wait to get home to pop that in a cassette player, and we sat there and we listened to every song. That just doesn't seem to happen anymore because you can just download it on your phone and listen to it wherever. I mean, it's kind of hard to get excited about stuff and plan to go get something when it's at your fingertips. We have so much information that it's so available whenever we want it. We're so spoiled that there's just no more. It's very hard to get excited because it's there. There's no anticipation.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, we were talking about Kiss. They're going on their farewell tour. They've been doing it for over 40 years, and they just started their tour recently. And people are the first night of the tour. People are going online and telling people, these are the songs they're playing. This is what to expect and stuff. And back in the day, people could, the band would tour around the country, and you wouldn't really know what the show was going to be like till they came to your town. But things have really drastically changed since then,
Yeah, and then with the whole Facebook Live thing, I mean, you can pretty much watch the show, sitting from your couch, and that's a shame. It's a shame that that's what music's become.
Yeah.
But
that's what it is, and you either become part of what it is now, or you don't. But I dig the fact that you guys are still putting out new music, like I said. And let me ask you, as far as touring, do you guys ever get out of your local area much, or is that something you hope to do down the line?
No, we've been talking about it for 2 years, and we've been trying, and it doesn't seem like we have much luck, but we're hoping we put some people in place that potentially could help us, and we're taking another go at it, and we've got 12 potential dates right now that we're waiting to hear back on.
Well, I love that. Love that persistence. And dedication. Because there are a lot of bands would have given up. But
the thing is, if we get half of those, I think we'll all be really ecstatic. So, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
I never like to get deflated.
Yeah.
I just keep working at it.
Yeah.
And if we get one of those, if we get 1 out of 12, I'll be ecstatic because that means that's one more than we didn't have last year. And, if that means next year we get 3, well, then that's 3, 2 more than we had the year before. So, again, I keep going back to the same word, progression. If we can just keep progressing, then, I think we'll be right. And we have already, because this year we've already booked 2 shows that, instead of doing, like when we open up for these nationals, we sell tickets, we make money from tickets, we make money from merch. But we just booked 2 shows with guarantees, good money, production's covered. So those are the things that, we're looking to do this year, and that's kind of the direction that we want to stay. And if that means we have to take a step back to make that leap, then that gives us more time to write more material and rehearse and become better. There's always things to do in an original band. Like even though we're not doing a bunch of shows, we can still be writing, we can still be rehearsing, we can still be getting better, we can still be doing the things that we're doing tonight, interviews. Looking for endorsements. There's so many things that an original band can do, and goes back to if you want to do it, it takes some work, and the work is not just playing your instrument.
Yeah, you're definitely right, and the fact that you guys got this big premiere coming up for the new single, I mean, that had to take a lot of hard work to set that up, and see, you are motivated. You know why? Because not because it's just the band you're in and this and that, but you're motivated because you are in the band, as opposed to this was, say, an A&R guy at a record label who you're just another band to him, and these guys, their last album didn't sell nothing, so we're just going to move on to the next thing. You're actually in the band, so you're motivated to do whatever you have to do to get your band out there. That's I think why you guys are still doing it.
Yeah, and I think the key word is dedication.
Yeah.
There's no one that's going to be as dedicated as the people that are in the band.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, being, the founder, Jamie, co-founder, we need to lead by example. We need to put our heads down. We need to be the guys working hard so that the other guys in the band or the people that are helping the band, whether it's crew or whatever we have going on, everybody's going to buy into it. And when everybody buys into it, that's when things will happen.
And Silk Nine, you guys are a 3-piece band, correct?
4-piece.
4-piece, okay. And so are you the lead player or the?
Yeah, so we have one guitar.
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
Jamie's vocals, Jazz on bass,
Okay.
and Matt Ferrante on drums.
And is that hard being in a band where you're the sole guitar player as opposed to having another guy to play off of?
No, you know what? I've never been. I don't think I've ever been in a 2-guitar player band.
Okay.
It's just,
Yeah.
it just, to me, I've always had the guitar tone to fill, and I've always played with bass players that could do the same. So it never sounded thin to me.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of 2-guitar player bands claim that it sounds fuller.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I see them and I hear us, that we sound just as full with one guitar player.
Yeah.
So that's the recipe, and I'm going to stick to the recipe.
It works.
And,
yeah.
It works, and also there's just one less attitude to deal with.
Yeah, because I was going to say a lot of those bands, a lot of the times that two players are kind of competing with one another. Now, as far as your guitar playing, I was curious. Would you see yourself as more of a like kind of a showman, a flashy player that likes to or is it more about the song, like you're saying the song and making the guitar playing fit in with the song as opposed to kind of like doing a flashy solo?
I don't think I'm flashy at all. I think I've always been built on melody.
Okay.
And another influence I didn't mention was I picked up a guitar because of Ace Frehley.
Oh wow,
and,
wow.
And a lot of his stuff was bending and he wasn't flashy by any means, but everything he played fit the song.
Yeah.
And I would rather play one note and bend it and throw some nice feeling behind it than hear a bumblebee floating around playing 1,000 notes. And there's a time and a place for that. Listen to Yngwie, and I listen to guys that do that type of music, and it's like I'm blown away. Does it fit this band? No, it doesn't fit this band at all.
No.
So I like to say that I built the band around kind of my playing.
Yeah.
And the band was built around melody, and anything I do that's even remotely close to shred would be just bursts. And then I always bail off into the root. I always do a lot of bending and things that are maybe use different scales to give it a different tone, different modes, things like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I don't. Some of my friends, say different things about my playing, but I don't consider myself, that quote unquote shredder by any means.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Anthony, I've enjoyed talking to you, and I'd like to do a follow-up interview, but I'll let you know when this one posts. And it's been great talking, and I want to thank you so much for reaching out to me again, because anytime I interview anybody, I like to kind of keep a friendship going. Anytime you have anything to promote, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be more than glad to help you promote it.
Sounds good. After we get off the phone here, I'm going to email you the new single.
Okay, like you said, I'll keep it under wraps.
With the promise that you'll keep it under wraps until after the 14th.
Yeah.
And then after that, whether we'll have it on our Facebook page and our video and things like that. If you want to share it with the video or share it the song or whatever. At that point, I really don't. I don't mind.
Until then, I will respect that. So thanks so much.
You got it.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
I'll see you.